Hi guys, this is X, and welcome to Chapter 2 of Frost Tanking 101. In this chapter, we'll cover Taunting, Advanced Death and Decay, and Pestilence overlapping. Taunting is a fairly straightforward technique, so I won't talk too much about it. The big thing that I want to point out is that when you taunt, you don't have to be facing your target. You want to keep the mobs as steady as possible so your DPS has an easy time targeting them and staying behind them if your groupmates are melee classes. Notice how the mob gets away from me here, but when I taunt, I don't face the mob. I keep the other mobs in front of me, taunt, and then I use the steer and pull back tactic I showed you guys in Chapter 1 to correct the position of the mobs. Notice how the mobs are now all in front of me or to my sides, where I can dodge and parry their attacks, and the two that didn't get away from me earlier never even moved. Remember, keep the mobs as steady as possible. Now, let's talk about Advanced Death and Decay usage. Paladins, warriors, and druids all have some form of AoE threat, but none of them have the luxury of ranged. We, as Death Knights, have a lot more flexibility with our Death and Decay ability. Notice here how I tank the boss in one spot, and, making use of my Death and Decay's ranged capabilities, I grab threat on the summoned mobs as they rush towards the healer. In this pull and 5-man TOC, you can see things get a little bit out of hand. This is okay, don't panic. Even the best tanks run into unexpected situations. Here, our paladin is showing up late to the instance, and he accidentally pulls an unintended group of mobs as he zones in. This will get our healer killed, and I'm forced to improvise. I throw my Death and Decay, again making good use of its ranged capability to snag aggro from the other mobs. This effectively lets me soft taunt the enemies from afar while maintaining high threat on my current mobs without me having to move at all. Yes, we do win this fight, but I'll show you the rest of it later. Right now, let's keep talking about Death and Decay. Here in Gundrak, I know that these rhinos have a charge and knockback ability. To counter it, I drop my Death and Decay behind myself, and when the rhino knocks me back, he foolishly charges into my eagerly awaiting Death and Decay. Finally, let's talk about Pestilence overlapping. To demonstrate this, I will first show you how it's done with just two mobs. Here, I apply diseases and build threat on one target, and then I begin pulling him toward my next pull. In this case, the next pull is just a single mob. Just before the first mob dies, I target him and cast Pestilence. This spreads both of my diseases to the second mob. By doing this, I have spread my diseases to a whole new pull by just spending a single blood rune. This saves my frost and unholy runes for things like obliterates and howling blasts. Now that you get the concept, let's see how it's done with two real pulls, where more mobs are involved. The first pull goes about as you'd expect, just a normal fight, but again, just before the mobs are dead, I begin approaching the next pull. I drop Death and Decay on them and then cast Pestilence at the nearly dead mob from the first pull, which, for just one blood rune, spreads the diseases to the new group of mobs. This lets you pull heroics very quickly, and if your group has high DPS and a good healer, they'll appreciate having a skilled, fast tank. Well, that does it for this chapter. As promised, I'll now show you the rest of that TOC fight from earlier. Once the healer goes down, who happens to be my best friend in real life, I know it's time to pop Icebound Fortitude. Thankfully, our shaman, another good real life friend of mine, and our pugging Pally are on the ball, and they take up heals when my HP starts to get low. Army of the Dead comes in handy too, and that relieves some pressure on my health bar. Eventually, our healer gets back, and then it's just a matter of coordinating the DPS so they attack the healers first, and we clean up the pull. I hope you guys enjoyed Chapter 2 of Frost Tanking 101. Coming up in the third and final chapter, we'll go over creative, fun, and impressive use of Anti-Magic Shell, Howling Blast, and Chains of Ice. Until next time, guys, go out and have fun. Cheers.